Azure Data Studio. So we are having like 12 people now on the call, which is a bit lower than normally. But as said, we are first time in a Teams meeting after some Skype meetings. So that's potentially one of the reasons. And also yesterday was a voting day, so probably you are either having a party or you are crying somewhere depending on what your targets were. But anyway, today it's about Azure Data Studio. We're having this session in English because I'm also sharing via WebEx to some people who are attending one of my training sessions, and they don't speak Finnish, so it makes more sense to have it in English. Let's try again. No. Okay, so this week we are talking about Azure Data Studio and what's that and where to use that. So Management Studio, they call it as a little brother or cousin or something for the SQL Server Management Studio. It's a tool which you can use to some of the tasks what you can use Management Studio for. And why would Microsoft invent a new tool set for maintaining or working with the relational engine is that first of all, SQL Server Management Studio is Windows only, and it's so heavily dependent on the Windows infrastructure that it's very hard to translate to different operating systems. And today, when for example SQL Server on Linux and same version runs on Mac is available, it makes sense to have some kind of new management and operations tool also for those platforms. And then they came up with the Azure Data Studio. So even though the name has Azure in its name, in the tooling name, it's not purely or only to Azure things. It's SQL Server, no matter, or Microsoft SQL, no matter what the flavor is. So it works exactly same against the on-premise SQL than Azure SQL. And actually, it's as of today the only tool you can use against the new big data cluster. So in SQL Server 2019 generation, we will have a new flavor of the SQL Server called Big Data Cluster, which will be kind of a very new technology, and we will cover that in the later sessions within a few weeks when they finally come up with the public preview. But within the Big Data edition, we can run Spark and SQL on the same platform, querying data from no matter whether it's in the SQL or in the Hive Metastore, all the tables are common, etc. So kind of the next version where big data comes together with the SQL server, and that's quite interesting. And as said, this is now the Azure Data Studio is now currently only tool you can use to connect to that source. Management Studio will in future releases become more like a management tool as the name suggests. So kind of this one will be the operational tool, and then the Management Studio will be the management tool. It will always have the querying tools and others, but probably this tool in future will have some new features that are not or will not be in the management studio. The concept in this tool is that you can first of all create groupings. So name server groups somehow, like I have I have here big data clusters, and I have SQL Server 2017 servers registered on the system, and I can create new connections or register new connections if needed. And inside the connections, the operational view starts from the fact that you can either connect to the databases, so like traditionally in the Management Studio, or you can connect to the master database, meaning that you connect to all of the databases, or you can connect to the single database, and then kind of it makes it easier for person who does only queries or who works inside a one database to invoke queries when you don't have all those Management Studio hierarchies available, but only things related to your database. If you look from the when you connect to master instance, you are also missing quite many different sections available from the Management Studio. So this operational point of view comes quite heavily from that point or fact also. Okay, why would you use? Because everyone loves Management Studio and everyone runs Windows on their machine. So why on earth would you use this tool? I would say that I will start using this tool because of the notebook functionality. So when you have a connection to either to the instance or to the database, you can either create a new query or you can create a new notebook. And this notebook concept is quite fancy, because at least how I interact with quite many customers is that if I show them something from their data or doing some performance analysis or something, run different queries with different parameters or something like in a Management Studio, quite commonly we have query underneath query which we run after kind of one by one and show the results. Now in this notebook format, we can have a query which we can run independently, hopefully. We can run whenever it returns. We can run it independently, and it will point out the results and still remain all the previous results also from the kind of same same within the same notebook. So I have here some other query, and it has its results printed over here also. In addition to the kind of actual queries and their results, we also have what's called an textual section where we can put, this is a heading where we can put textual information about the query. So quite commonly those ones, then we have currently we don't have quite many formatting options, but this is subheading and that's a bit more smaller, and then we have even 3 of these hash signs as a third level heading, but kind of explaining these queries. So when you run the queries and you want to take notes to kind of tell the reader afterwards what he should do, you can type in it as a kind of separate text paragraph, and then when the the user comes into the notebook, he can run the queries individually and see the results, or they are even kept here so that you don't have to run them, and you can see the outcome that was previously run. So the same concept as we have in the Azure Databricks or Jupyter Notebooks or some other platform where the notebooks are gaining attention. So as of now, it is not possible to run different programming languages. So if I've kind of started this as a SQL engine, this notebook, there is no way I could kind of switch the language to be something else. I'm hoping this one to change in the future releases, because it still mounts, for example, this Python is mounted to my own Python runtime. So technically it should be possible to pick up that and run it over here, because it would help on some cases. And also it's not possible to render these as charts or something. So which, for example, in big data workloads and notebooks in big data workloads are quite common habit, that you run the query, you get the results that you should have some kind of button to transform that to some other graphical presentation, and as far as I know, it should be coming. There's a public statement that we will include charting also for this. So then you don't need to export the data to Excel or connect Power BI to your query. You can render the chart inside your notebook. From the management point of view, we still have some management capability, meaning that we can, on top of the server name, we can start profiler. It's not extended events, it's actually a SQL Server profiler. So we can run the profiler and read kind of the output from there. We can customize the profiler, so making a filter statements and others, like in the management studio. And also we can click what's called manage over here. So manage, and it will come up an interface where for most common tasks that potentially would be done to the database, like backup or restore or that type of activities, and you have also access to SQL agent to see how it runs. So kind of from the operational point of view, what does the server do? One funny thing is this SP who is active. So I have it over here. So there is a free add-in implemented by Microsoft called SP who is active, which is actually using that Adam Mechanics free open source SP who is active stored procedure, and that's now integrated inside the management UI. So it always, when you click manage, it opens a third tab, and you can see all the long running queries. You can go to the details from certain aspects. So see the actual queries taking time or resources. You can also, for each of the result sets, hopefully like this, so details, it would show. Now I'm on my own environment, so that's a snapshot. I should click the refresh button to refresh the results, and then all the bars will go away because there is no usage as of now. But from there you could see all the activity in more detail level and vice versa. Also from the if I manage to get the here, now I don't have anything available on this. There's no queries running, but as this is now a new result set window, you can easily, for example, order by the columns by clicking here. So there are kind of some new tools that and actually there is now the chart option also. So for result sets, you can interact more kind of in more ways than you would be able to do on the management studio. So looking forward, this one will have a tool set that we've been waiting for management studio forever, and then management studio will focus more on the management side of the things. And as said, this one is technically based on the Visual Studio Code. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a Visual Studio Code is technically on top of the Visual Studio Code. You cannot use it as a code editing tool, so it has replaced all of the things. It's a separate tool or separate application, but built on top of that foundation, meaning that it runs on Mac and it runs on Linux and it runs on all of the systems where Visual Studio Code runs also. Good. So if you haven't used that, give it a try, and if it doesn't look good, then give it a try after a few months, because it will evolve quite fast nowadays. Good. Yes, tässä sammutetaan. Tuosta.